Pa's Indians awoke here for many a long day. The little log houses and the little stable sat lonely in the silence, stillness. Then Pet and Patty briskly started onward. The wagon went back from the bluff into the wooded creek bottom, and high in a treetop a mockingbird began to sing. I never heard a mockingbird sing so early, said Ma, and Pa answered softly, he is telling us goodbye. They rode down through the low hills on the creek. The food was low and easy crossing. On they went, across the bottoms where antlered deer stood up to watch them passing. A mother deer with her fawns bounded into the shadows of the woods, and up between the steep red earth cliffs the wagon climbed to prairie again. Pet and Patty were eager to go. Their hoofs had made a muffled sound in the bottoms, but now they rang on the hard prairie, and the wind sang shrill against the foremost wagon boughs. Pa and Ma were still and silent on the wagon seat, and Mary and Laura were quiet too. But Laura felt all excited inside. You never know what will happen next, nor where you'll be tomorrow when you're traveling in a covered wagon. At noon, Pa stopped beside a little spring to let the Mustangs eat and drink and rest. The spring would soon be dry in the summer heat, but there was plenty of water now. Ma took cold cornbread and meat from the food box, and they all ate sitting on the clean grass in the shade of the wagon. They drank from the spring, and Laura and Mary ran around the grass picking wildflowers, while Ma tidied the food box, and Pa hitched up Pet and Patty again. Then for a long time they went on across the prairie. There was nothing to be seen but the blowing grass, the sky, and the endless wagon track. Now and then a rabbit bounded away. Sometimes a prairie hen with her brood of prairie chicks scuttled out of sight in the grass. Baby Carrie slept, and Mary and Laura were almost asleep when they heard Pa say, something's wrong there. Laura jumped up, and far ahead on the prairie she saw a small, light-colored bump. She couldn't see anything else unusual. Where? She asked Pa. There. Pa said, nodding for that bump. It isn't moving. Laura didn't say any more. She kept on looking, and she saw that bump was a covered wagon. Slowly it grew bigger. She saw that no horses were hitched to it. Nothing moved anywhere around it. Then she saw something dark in front of it. The dark thing was two people sitting on the wagon tongue. They were a man and a woman. They sat looking at their feet, and they moved only their heads to look up when Pet and Patty stopped in front of them. What's wrong? Where are your horses? Pa asked. I don't know, the man said. I tied them to the wagon last night, and this morning they were gone. Somebody cut the ropes and took them away in the night. What about your dogs? Said Pa. Haven't got a dog, the man said. Jack stayed under the wagon. He didn't growl, but he didn't come out. He was a sensible dog and knew what to do when he met strangers. Well, your horses are gone, Pa told the man, and you'll never see them again. Hanging's too good for horse thieves. Yes, said the man. The man said. I looked at Ma, and Ma hardly nodded, then barely nodded. Then Pa said, come ride with us to Independence. No, said the man. All we've got is this wagon. We won't leave it. Why, man, what will you do? Pa exclaimed. There may be nobody along with for days, weeks. Can't stay here. I don't know, the man said. We'll stay with our wagon, the woman said. She was looking down at her hands clasped in her lap. Laura couldn't see her face. She could see only the sides of sunbonnet. Let her come, Pa told them. You can come back for your wagon. No, the woman said. They wouldn't leave the wagon. Everything they owned in the world was in it. So at last, Pa drove on, leaving them sitting on the wagon tongue, all alone on the prairie. Pa muttered to himself, tender feet, everything they owned, and no dog to watch it. Didn't keep watching himself, and tied his horses with ropes. Pa snorted, tender feet. He said again, shouldn't be allowed loose west of the Mississippi. But, child, whatever will become of them? Ma asked him. They're soldiers at Independence, said Pa. I'll tell the captain. He'll send out men to bring them. They could hold out that long, but it's darn lucky for them that we came by. If we hadn't, there's no telling when they would have been found. Laura watched that lonely wagon until it was only a small lump on the prairie. Then it was a speck. Then it was gone. All the rest of that day, Pa drove on and on. They didn't see anybody else. When the sun was setting, Pa stopped by a well. A house had once been there, but it was burned. The well held plenty of good water, and Laura and Mary gathered bits of half-burned wood to make the fire. Pa unhitched and watered the horses and put them on picket lines. Then Pa took the seat down for the wagon and lifted out the food box. The fire burned beautifully, and Ma quickly got supper. Everything was just as it used to be before they built the house. Pa, Ma, and Carrie were on the wagon seat. Laura and Mary are on the wagon tongue. They ate the good supper hot from the campfire. Pet and Patty and Bunny munched the good grass, and Laura saved bits for Jack, who mustn't beg, but could eat a fill soon as supper was over. Then the sun went down far away in the west, and it was time to make the camp ready for night. Pa chained Pet and Patty to the feed box at the end of the wagon. He chained Bunny to the side, and he fed them all their supper of corn. Then he sat by the fire and smoked his pipe, while Ma tucked Mary and Laura into bed and laid baby Carrie. She sat down beside Pa at the fire, and Pa took his fiddle out of its box and began to play. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, the fiddle wailed, and Pa began to sing. I went to California with my washstand on my knee, and every time I thought of home, I wished it wasn't me. I wish it wasn't me. You know, Caroline, to say, I've been thinking what fun the rabbits will have eating that garden we planted. Don't, Charles, Ma said. Never mind, Caroline, Paul told her. We'll make a better garden. Anyway, we're taking more out of Indian territory than we took in. I don't know that, Ma said, and Pa answered, why, there's the mule. Then Ma laughed and Pa and the fiddle to sing again. In Dixieland I'll take my stand and live and die in Dixie. Away, 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 away down south in Dixie.
You sing like a Southern belle. Go ahead.
They sang with the... I don't know about that, but thanks for the compliment. They sang with a lilt and a swing that almost lifted Laura right out of bed. She must lie still and not wake Carrie. Mary was sleeping too, but Laura had never been wider awake. She heard Jack making his bed under the wagon. He was turning round and round, trampling down the grass. Then he curled onto that round nest with a flop and a sigh of satisfaction. Pet and Patty were munching the last of their corn, and their chains rattled. Bunny lay down beside the wagon. They were all there together, safe and comfortable for the night, under the wide starlit sky. Once more, the covered wagon was home. The fiddle began to play a marching tune, and Pa's clear voice was singing like a deep-toned bell. And we'll rally around the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. I totally did not know the tune to that, but whatever. Laura felt as she mushed out too, but softly Ma looked in through the round hole in the wagon cover. Charles, Ma said, Laura's wide awake. You can't go to sleep on such music as that. Pa didn't answer, but the voice of the fiddle changed. Softly and slurringly began a long, swinging rhythm that seemed to rock Laura gently. She felt her eyelids closing. She began to drift over endless waves of prairie grasses, and Pa's voice went with her, singing, row, back, rower, the water's so blue, like a feather we sail in our gum tree canoe. Row the boat lightly to love over the sea. Daily and nightly I'll wander here. Anyway, so that is the end of Little House on the Prairie.
That's a fitting ending for the year 2020.
And I actually have a better British accent than a Southern accent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I can do an okay impression of Hermione Granger from Harry Potter.
I see. Actually, it would be nice if there's the music with these lyrics, and so that your brother can play the music while you try to sing to the time.
Right.
Anyway, it was a nice story. You know, the Ingalls family didn't live in the Missouri Indian Territory for more than a year, and they.
But actually, in real life, like in Pioneer Girl, we just found out some very weird facts.
Really?
The one fact is that they did not actually live in Wisconsin. They lived in Missouri first. They never actually lived. The book never started. Like, they shouldn't have started in Wisconsin because they didn't live in Wisconsin.
But later on they did, right? Or they never did?
I'm not positively sure, but they definitely didn't start in Wisconsin.
Huh.
Also, know that the Ingalls family was part of an illegal movement to settle up the Indian territory?
Yes, yes. Apparently so, yes.
Yeah.
They were basically illegal land grabbers.
Yeah.
By the way, in Pioneer Woman, does the author say what year all these different stories transpired?
Yeah.
What year was it beginning?
Well, wait, you mean like the beginning of her life?
No, well, let's say Farmer Boy. What year was that? Or let's say Little House in the Big Woods. Or, Little House in the Prairie. What years were they?
I don't. Oh, here you go. So Will was married 1867. So I'd assume that if you count up all the years, maybe 1872.
It started in 1872.
No, she married. No, I'm sorry. She was born in 1867, and so I think they might have left Indian Territory maybe in 1872.
Oh, when she was 8 years old.
That's not a fact, but
Hmm.
that's.
Approximate.
And I'm not saying that they lived in Indian Territory for 8 years. I'm just saying that when she lived in Wisconsin and when she lived with Indian Territory around there. Because it actually says that she lived in Wisconsin for 5 years because she was like 5 or 6 when she left. So, and then she only lived. I mean, the book doesn't tell you every single day of her entire life.
Yes.
But I would assume that she lived in Indian Territory for a while. So.
Yeah, okay. And then where is the By the Shores of Silver Lake? Which
We're not
state?
even on that book.
I know, but what state is Silver Lake belong to?
I'm not sure if that's the one where they start settling, but they finally settle in De Smet.
Oh, and where is that? What state is that?
I'm not positive.
South Dakota, maybe?
So wait a second. I have it in little town on the prairie. I'm not positively sure. De Smet, somewhere where there's snow.
Okay, no problem. Grandpa will try to figure it out when we get to that book.
Okay, so anyway, they definitely settle in De Smet, but I'm not sure where that is.
Okay. Anyway, now that we've finished the book, I want to thank you for reading it to me. I thought it was pretty good reading.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed the story. And I'd like to know about your report card.
Oh, okay. So, I'll tell you.
And if you know your brother's report card, maybe you can...
I have no idea what my brother's report card is, but, Mom said it's good. But anyways, for my report card, so our school, my school, not Sam's school, I don't think, but my school, Bookcrest Elementary School, they graded 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As you know, 0 means
bad.
Oh, you failed class, okay?
Okay.
But the thing you have to know is that an A plus does not mean, a 4 does not mean an A plus.
Oh.
And a 3 does not mean a B.
Oh.
Not equivalent at all.
So what does it equate to?
That's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
So, wait a second. So, the district sets mark in a way, that says, every student will have to be up to this level. This is where every student should be.
Okay.
Like that. So that's what a 3 means. A 3 means that this is exactly where you should be.
Okay.
You have
the skills or the knowledge.
You have fulfilled this mark. You are where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
4 means that your work is more than expected.
Uh-huh.
A 2 means that your work is a little
below.
You need to improve a little to meet expectations, but does not mean that you have failed or that you are the worst student ever. It does not mean that. It just means that if you put in a little more time and effort, you will get a 3, most likely.
Okay, okay. What's a 1 then?
And on the other hand, Mrs. Burkhart, who's my teacher, she said, none of you guys got a 1, and you would know if you did because I'd be calling, emailing, and texting your parents every single day.
Uh-huh.
So a 1 does mean, okay, you are, like, far below, you need to...
Catch up.
You're, like, failing in a way. But nobody in my entire class got a 1 or a 0. I don't think they even hand out zeros, but who knows?
That's good. That's good.
Anyways, so what I got, if you want to know,
yeah.
So the subjects that we do is math, reading, writing, social studies, science, and science.
5 subjects. Math, reading, writing, social studies, and what is it?
Science.
And science, yep.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's everything we do.
Okay, okay.
And then we have specials, and if you don't know what specials, it's like an extracurricular thing like art, music, SSI or technology, Spanish, and PE.
And so what did you pick?
And we have 5 specials too. 1 for every day of the week. So you get and then of course there's the behavior part. But anyways, back to the actual grade. I'll tell you about the behavior and the special things afterwards.
Okay.
But for my actual grade, so my whole report card for academic stuff, I got all 3s and 4s.
Wow.
So I am, in almost everything, I am exactly where I should be. And in a few parts, I am above where I'm supposed to be.
So which ones did you get a 4 in? Which ones did you get a 3 in?
I can't do it off the top of my head, but I got a few 4s in, math, and
wow.
I have like a few 4s in writing, like a mix of 4s in writing and reading.
Wow, that's awesome.
I don't have any 4s in social studies or science, but then again,
but at least you met the requirements.
My favorite subject right
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's what I got for the big thing. I can ask Mom to send you the actual document so you know exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the overall thing.
That's terrific.
It's not the best I could have done. Like in 3rd grade, I think I got a much better one. I think I got a lot more 4s. But I think since it's the first marking period, I should work harder to get more 4s. But I do not think that I am because it's the first marking period. I have 2 more marking periods to get more 4s. So that's a lot of school.
So basically, that was your report card for your 4th grade.
Sorry, not 4th grade. 4th grade, we didn't have any report cards.
Oh, so this is your 5th grade, 1st or 2nd quarter?
1st quarter.
Okay.
The first marking. This is the first report card of this year.
Okay.
We have 2 more.
All right.
So the first one is the one where it's okay, this is just this is a check-in in a way. So it's okay, this is where you are, like it or don't like it, you have time to improve.
Yep.
The second marking period is okay, you gotta get more serious, you gotta work with it. The third marking period is okay, this is what you get, and this is what really counts. If you don't like it, well, sorry, you didn't put in the effort. If you like it, well, hooray, this is your grade. So the third marking period is probably the most the most important out of all 3.
Right.
It's the last year one, so it's this is how much you have learned in the entire year.
Yep. It's like the final grade.
Yes, the final grade. So
okay. So now what about your special topics?
So I'm going to move on to behavior.
All right.
So for behavior, for this one it's not 4, 3, 2, 1. In this one it's you know the plus sign, if you're doing 8 plus 6, you know that little plus sign?
Yeah.
So that means exemplary. You are amazing.
Ooh.
A slash is you are expected. A minus is you really need to improve on this.
Mm.
So the one